From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
Once that public land is gone, it is gone forever. We never have it back.
Public Lands Flashpoint, how wilderness advocates are responding to the possibility of losing public lands as part of a larger federal bill.
These programs are very important, and we're proud of our participants.
Upward Bound, how Billings veterans recognized and celebrated efforts to help low-income first-generation students improve their education.
The family farm is getting squeezed on both ends.
We've gone through so many decades of depressed prices.
Plus, some big payouts for cattle producers. How much money could be coming to some Montana ranchers after a price-fixing lawsuit? Those stories and much more coming up in the next hour. Good morning and welcome back to Montana This Morning on this Thursday, June 12th. I'm Charlie Klepps here with Ed McIntosh.
Nice to be here with you, Charlie.
Yeah, good morning, Ed. I know you had a quick turnaround from the 10 o'clock last night to here, so you're a trooper.
Yeah, I had to hang in there and watch those rain showers and thunderstorms last night. Let's take a look and see what's going on with the Stockman Bank weather cam. A really pretty start with the camera here this morning, where temperatures yesterday, 57 to start, 80, just a little bit warmer than average, both in the morning and in the afternoon. But check out the sunset now at 9:05. 9:08 is the latest that we get before we start to see it turn around the other direction. The winds weren't a big deal here in Billings. We picked up just a little bit of rain, 2/100 of an inch at the airport. But look around us where we had some reports 0.8 of an inch in Lewistown, over an inch of rainfall in Gillette, and that came with some hail there about ping pong sized. And then some rain continues to accumulate. In fact, even in the last short while, Miles City's picked up several hundredths more inches, so, and a 1/4 inch around the Glendive area as well. So when the rain is coming down, it's coming down pretty good, and that's what we're going to see over the next week. Fairly quiet for the Billings area today, maybe a stray shower, but a much different picture in the coming days. I'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Ed. We appreciate it. It's always that back and forth time of year, right?
That's for sure.
We begin with breaking news overnight out of India. An Air India passenger plane confirmed to be carrying more than 250 people crashed in a western Indian city. India's health minister says many people had been killed, though the exact number is not yet known. Take a look. A live flight tracking source says it received a final signal from flight AI 171 just seconds after it took off from the city of Ahmedabad. According to Flight Radar, the plane, a Boeing 7878 Dreamliner, is capable of carrying more than 250 people, and Indian media says this flight was expected to be carrying about 242. Officials say there were nearly 170 Indian nationals on board, along with 53 British nationals, 7 Portuguese, and 1 Canadian. The airline adds the plane was bound for London. The Aviation Safety Network database shows this is the first crash ever of a Boeing 787 aircraft. We'll continue to bring you updates this morning as we learn them. We continue to follow the ongoing situation in California as well, and now it's growing elsewhere. Protests are now erupting in cities across the nation as Americans, angry at recent immigration raids, take to the streets. Many demonstrations have ended in arrests, with some violence against law enforcement, and more protests are planned for this coming weekend. Naomi Ruckham shows us where the tensions are running high as the White House promises the raids will continue.
A second night of curfew was enforced in downtown LA Wednesday after local authorities announced more than a dozen people have been charged with crimes related to recent protests.
We will know who you are, who engaged in this conduct. We will track you down. We will arrest you.
This as the standoff between President Donald Trump and California Governor Gavin Newsom intensifies after President Trump deployed the National Guard and hundreds of Marines to the state. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass accused the Trump administration of trying to cause fear and panic.
This was provoked by the White House. The reason why, we don't know.
Protests have now emerged beyond Los Angeles.
I want a lawyer!
Tucson, Arizona, San Antonio, and Austin, Texas are among the cities where the situation grew tense between protesters and law enforcement. Many say they are simply exercising their right to peacefully protest.
Immigrants have contributed so much to this country.
and for them to be vilified as people that just take from the country is unfair.
And though some members of the president's own party have said the raids have gone too far, the administration is not backing down.
The Trump administration is going to continue the mass deportation effort that the president promised the American public.
This ahead of large coordinated protests planned for cities across the country on Saturday. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
Later today, a federal judge is set to hold a hearing over Governor Newsom's request to block the Trump administration from using federal troops. President Trump has made budget cutting one of his top priorities since entering office. One example, the president is proposing $163 billion in cuts to non-defense programs. That includes cuts to TRIO. That's a federal government program that supports secondary, post-secondary, and adult students toward educational achievement. Currently, the administration's proposal would eliminate $1.6 billion of support to colleges and universities that serve 880,000 students through TRIO. This morning, the battle over public lands continues. President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill would allow for millions of acres of treasured public lands to be sold. It's an issue that has wilderness experts raising concerns, and many now closely watching to see how Montana Senator Steve Daines and Tim Sheehy will vote. Our Haley Monaco tried to catch up with both as the debate in Washington grows heated yet again this week.
Let's go. Come on, let's go. A big percentage of people who live here because of the public land.
From the rivers and streams to the mountains and hills, the future of our public lands is now at the forefront of Mike Penfold's mind.
Once that public land is gone, it is gone forever. We never have it back.
Language authorizing the sale of some public lands was removed at the last minute from President Trump's big, beautiful budget bill just hours before the House Budget Committee passed the package. But now,
of underused federal land.
Utah Senator Mike Lee plans to add the sale of public lands back into the bill, and it's not sitting well with public land advocates like Penfold.
These guys who want to take this public land away from us, take that heritage away from us, know that the rich people in this country are the ones who would benefit from it. It's not going to be the people who use it right now.
During a committee hearing Wednesday, senators questioned Interior Secretary Doug Burgum about what states could be involved.
Sales, they would look at the states that have been most overburdened by the federal government percentage, and among the top of that, Nevada, Alaska, Idaho, and Utah are among the states that have the highest percentage of federal land. They also
and certain states like Montana might be exempted.
Not familiar with that or understand why that would be or not be.
Montana U.S. Senators Steve Daines and Tim Sheehy want the president's budget bill to pass, but have dodged questions on whether they would vote for it if it contains provisions to sell public lands. MTN requested interviews with both senators, but instead were provided statements, with Senator Sheehy saying in part, "Public lands belong in public hands. That's not just a slogan, it's a way of life." Daines has sent differing statements. Last week, his spokesperson said, quote, "Senator Daines is in talks to minimize or prevent public land sales." Now, a more firm stance, with that same spokesperson saying, quote, "Senator Daines is against the sale of public lands and is making his strong concerns clear to his colleagues." But during Wednesday's hearing, Daines made no mention of public land sales. Instead,
one issue that we're focused on in Montana, among many, is grizzly bears.
Delisting grizzlies and talked of Montana Energy. The language regarding the sale of public lands has yet to be added back to the bill, but Burgum confirmed that discussions are happening to include the sale of up to 2 million acres, which he argues would create affordable housing. A slippery slope that some say would open the door to a dangerous precedent.
You know it's going to be coming here. Once they get their foot in the door, they will never stop. It's the biggest public asset that exists, and they can't wait to get their hands on it.
In Billings, Haley Monaco, MTN News.
America's military members fight for our freedoms each and every day, but it's no secret that once their service is over, veterans can have a challenging time reimmersing themselves in society and finding education opportunities. This morning, through food and fun, one group is hoping to solve that issue, connecting veterans with local service providers. Our Hannah Pettiferi has this story on how this celebration can provide a fresh start.
It's a beautiful day.
It's a celebration of those involved with the Veterans Upward Bound and Federal Outreach and Student Services Programs TRIO.
Veterans that have been in the Veterans Upward Bound program in the last year and years past.
And a celebration of their achievements.
Whether it's going to school or a new job, graduating.
Timothy Newman, a U.S. Marine Corps vet, joining in at the 3rd annual barbecue.
Seeing a lot more veterans and just TRIO staff coming together is really great to see everyone.
He's also thankful for the new opportunity these programs are providing.
I used VUB to get back into college after almost a decade of being away from school.
Adding, VUB made the transition easy.
It put me at ease.
Mike Wolf, the assistant director at VUB, saying that's what it's all about.
If a veteran wants to go to school, we help identify their strengths and weaknesses and then help them build on those weaknesses so that they're better prepared to go to school.
The transition can sometimes be challenging.
Taking a look at what their needs are, what their ideas are.
Providing solutions to those confusing times.
And then kind of filling in those gaps as far as what are their options.
Bringing us back to today.
We're celebrating all our participants in Montana.
Hannah Romick, once a student, now an academic counselor in the Upward program.
Just in the Billings area alone, we serve over 2,000 individuals every year that are high school students, that are adults in the community, that are veterans.
Hannah saying she too is grateful for all the TRIO programs.
TRIO changed the course of my life. I wasn't going to go to college.
And on this day, celebrating what they can do for the community.
Helping low-income and first-generation students succeed and find their place and find some support that they might not have otherwise.
In Billings, Hannah Pettiferry, MTN News.
Montana is home to hundreds, if not thousands, of cattle producers, and now some big payouts could be on the way for some of those people. It comes after JBS Foods agreed recently to pay $83.5 million as part of a class action lawsuit, led in part by a Montana nonprofit that alleged price fixing. In this morning's Montana Ag Report, our David J. dives into the potential impact and what it all means.
Montana is home to numerous cattle producers, and just 4 companies control 85% of the beef processing industry, and that's what's at the heart of this lawsuit. The lawsuit alleges that the Big 4 meat packers kept the prices paid to cattle producers low for 4 years, starting in June of 2015.
During this period where we allege that the meat packers unlawfully colluded to depress cattle prices, consumers were paying record prices for beef and continue to do so.
Bill Bullard is the CEO for one of the plaintiffs, RCAF USA, a Billings-based nonprofit representing cattle producers. While he says the lawsuit is against JBS, Tyson, Cargill, and National Beef, only JBS is settled for $83.5 million.
We just settled with one packer, and we have complaints with all 4. And so the other 3 are still an ongoing investigation, ongoing case.
That means even more payouts could be coming. Now is the time for those who believe they've been harmed to file a claim with a looming deadline of September 15th.
We've had producers who have asked us whether or not if they filed a claim would their name be shared within the industry, and the answer is no.
They have to keep your name secret. So that way these packers can't blacklist you or retaliate. So don't be afraid. If you have a claim, file it.
Walter Schweitzer is the president of the Montana Farmers Union, which is also a co-plaintiff through the National Farmers Union. Schweitzer says claims aren't just limited to feedlot owners and producers who sold to the Big 4, but others indirectly impacted as well.
If you just traded in the commodities market on hedging your fat cattle, you have a claim.
What are also included are classes that represent feeder cattle, lighter weight cattle.
Both men say this settlement and the cases against the other 3 packers are crucial for the industry and for consumers. A fight against what they say is monopolization of the meat industry, ultimately impacting you, the consumer, as well.
We view this to be absolutely essential in restoring competition for our industry.
This is just the beginning of it, and it's really, one way of trying to keep these packers honest.
In Billings, David J., MTN News.